Thank you, Jack. I'm going to change this. It is strange how we travel in these circles, Jack, because you used to be my boss. Let me see. Before that, you were the deputy. Now, you work for me. Yes. So I'm confused a little bit. But I have my story. I have my own story. Because Jack was there a couple of times. I'm not sure of the sequence of my little PIAAC story. So there's this mutual friend and also boss, and well, we don't know what he is either, Mark Snyder, who is now the director of IES. He came to me and he said, I don't know if I like this national assessment of adult literacy anymore. I know we've been doing it for a while, but I think I want something that's more global. I have this big idea about an international assessment, and I'm going to approach OECD about it. I says, okay, that's fine, but we have to continue to do national assessment. We went around and around about it, and finally he says, you don't understand, do you? You are going to cancel this one, and we're going to do this one. And we did, and I have to tell you, in hindsight, it was the best decision ever. And I can look back and tell you from the perspective of having administered the national assessment and now PIAAC, that this is making a difference, not just for the United States, but for globally. So thank you, Jack, for that really nice introduction. And I would like to thank AIR for sponsoring this event, and that fabulous AIR PIAAC team that you heard Jale talk about. Thank you as well, and we should give her just a round of applause. She is outstanding. So welcome to everyone here. I am truly glad to be here today. And this is a very distinguished conference. It's the third. And I can tell you, I attended the first and the second, and there's far less space in the room today than it was last time and the year before. So that's a good thing. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome William Thorne. Is William here? From OECD PIAAC. Well, hopefully he'll be here. Oh, here you are. Hi, William. This is getting in the way. Erwin Kirsch, a good friend and colleague from ETS. And Erwin is the International Survey Director for both PIAAC and PISA, so we travel in that OECD world together as well. And I would also like to welcome my colleagues and friends from the U.S. Department of Education in particular. You've heard of NCES, the National Center for Education Statistics, IES, Institute for Education Sciences. These colleagues are very dedicated and hardworking, and they do their best. Also, the staff of the Department of Labor. I may have lost my slides here. Okay. And the Justice Department, they're here today. And there perhaps are some other U.S. government agencies welcome as well. And I can't forget the researchers, the many researchers that are in this room, the people from the think tanks and the foundations and other countries that are joining us today. So this is an innovative large-scale assessment, as you've already heard. It provides countries with information on the stock of critical skills that adults need to function effectively in today's global economy. In addition, it provides information on the relationship between these skills and socio-economic outcomes that could lead to a better understanding of the factors that contribute to the skills gained and lost in the design of programs and policies to make effectively upskill the adult population and prepare it for the challenges of technological innovation and changing economies. So the first release of PIAAC data in 2013 and the release of the data from the follow-up national data collections in the United States in 2014 has provided us with valuable information and at times some shocking information about our population. We learned, for example, that compared to other participating countries, the U.S. adult population, despite great increases in education attainment and technological processes, is below the international averages in digital problem solving and numeracy, as I recall. We also learned that the U.S. adults, the gender gap in skills, although undetectable in literacy, persists in numeracy across all age and education attainment groups. We also learned that U.S. young adults lack the skills to be competitive in the global economy. They perform below their international peers in literacy, numeracy, and digital problem solving, lagging behind countries such as Germany, South Korea, Finland, and yes, Japan. We also learned that in the United States, the gaps in literacy skills, and especially in numeracy skills, between our lower educated adults and our higher educated adults are greater than in almost all of the PIAAC participating OECD countries. And finally, we learned that parents' education is important, and it's important as it pertains to the education outcomes of their children, but also the literacy and numeracy skills of the adults throughout their entire life, even in retirement. This is very shocking. As researchers dig deeper into the gains and gain more insight into PIAAC data, the great utility of these data sets is becoming more and more evident. In fact, the unique nature of its data, information on the skills of adults nested in rich information on their backgrounds, this background questionnaire is really rich, has proven to be invaluable in many policy decisions, including the reauthorization of the Workforce Innovations Opportunity Act that Jack mentioned. It's a collaborative funding vehicle for the U.S. Departments of Labor, Education, and Health and Human Services. So looking at the list of studies that are going to be presented, I'm excited by the breadth and depth of the areas addressed in the research papers that will be presented today and tomorrow. The richness of the PIAAC data has allowed researchers from a range of social science disciplines, and there are many, including education, health, economies, demography, and correctional education. You heard from Jack that I was particularly interested in that. And together, you are trying to examine issues that relate to the critical aspects of the adult life at all phases. Of the 20 papers that will be presented, I am particularly glad to see the several foci on learning more about the numeracy skills of the U.S. population in different settings in relationship to gender, age, health, and employment status. I'm also very pleased to see that our data on the incarcerated adults are being used and that several of these papers are dedicated to looking at this population in depth. It is truly impressive to see that since the release of the PIAAC data, researchers have become increasingly interested in using these data. Now, part of this is because we have this really nice IES grant that has allowed researchers, over 150 researchers, to be trained in the use of this complex data set. Contributing to this success and outreach, of course, It's the PIAAC team at AIR and at NCES, and this has been no small feat, I can assure you. And this is particularly true considering the size and the extent of this effort. We also should not forget to thank the many adults across the country who opened their homes to the PIAAC interviewers and gave their time and effort to completing this assessment. And the response rates at NCS are really, really dropping. And so to see that our response rates for this assessment are holding, it is really a good thing. It is because of them that we're going to have the wealth of data, and I'm going to call it a data feast today and tomorrow. We're ending 2018 and yet with another PIAAC data collection effort, and this one will be giving us data from the state and the country level. Yes, we're going to do small area estimations. And I think that by tomorrow or so, there will be those talking about this effort. These results are going to be released in 2020. So looking ahead, we're on the heels of cycle 2 of the PIAAC data collection. This means that the United States, along with other countries, 32 participating countries, will be again collecting these data. We're in the middle of the development of the related tools and resources and field testing, just ahead of this main data collection cycle for 2021. I look forward to seeing all of you again. Maybe we're going to figure out a bigger room, hopefully with a good view, next time around when these results are released. So we'll look forward to 2023. I would like to end my talk by sharing with you the goal that we at NCES, together with our team at AIR, we love to collect and release and discuss and distribute data. This is what we do. We diligently collect and publish these data, and we take care, and as Jarlay indicated, we review and review and review. We do this for you. You make these data come alive, and you give them purpose. You make it instrumental to the development of policy and practice. You make these data relevant to your own disciplines, each and every one that I mentioned before. All of the researchers who have worked on the papers, as well as the reviewers, discussants, and monitors for the PIAAC staff that have to put in a great deal of effort to bring this together, again, thank you. This is important to us all. And I'm hopeful that the next conference, I guess that would be conference 4, will produce again the thought-provoking discussion and exchange that I am sure that we're going to see here over the next 2 days. You know, they say knowledge breeds knowledge. I hope we see more conferences like this, like the one we're going to see here today, that showcase and disseminate efforts and the research base on data, many data, not just this one from NCES. Thank you so much for your efforts. Jolie, the team, and AIR.